What were the most obvious changes that you've seen in Yu-Gi-Oh in your 16 years, and how do you think the card game will change in a post-COVID world?
Okay, so to address how the game has changed, the game has gotten a lot more accessible, a lot more a lot more communistic is the best way to put it, because way back when Upper Deck was running Yu-Gi-Oh, they always rewarded the better players. It was always the better you did in a tournament, the more prizes you got, in a sense. And now Yu-Gi-Oh has started to come more into like a more like even keel kind of prize thing, where it's unless you become the top cut, everybody gets the same prize. So it's I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to encourage players to like newer players to come into the game, because they don't want it to be like the rich getting richer mentality. Like they didn't want that, because like if that happens, then you're going to discourage a lot of like the younger players and the newer players to want to play, because it's like, oh, this guy's always winning, then why do I want to start? Where
And I've
like
seen so
if
many
they
card games die like that.
yeah, and then they did that, which I understand doing that, because it's also a business standpoint. Like the more people that play the game, the more people that buy the product, the more people that like, the more money that goes into the company, because you're a business, because that's what it is. I understand that. Even though I do like the better you do, the more you get incentive. I'm not a participation trophy guy. I've never been a fan of that, but I understand what they're trying to do, because it's a business. I understand. So, but by doing that, they also made the game a lot easier to play. And by that is that it took me 2 years of Yu-Gi-Oh to finally become like competent, not professional, competent. And nowadays, it can take less than a year for somebody to not just be competent in Yu-Gi-Oh, but excel at the game, because they've made the skill gap like a lot lower. So it's a lot easier for me to cause an upset over a better player, in a sense. Now it's like poker, in a sense. Like while there's still like a wide array of luck in the game, you'll still see the most like the best poker players consistently make tops. It's like that in Yu-Gi-Oh as well. Even though like the luck is widening up, and it's also made it, the skill gap is shortening, you still see some of the best players that are still up there still win and coming on top. It's just that it's a lot easier now for a newer player to beat an experienced player, as opposed to before, where like you would barely give like the newer player even a chance. And nowadays, like the newer players have a lot better chance of beating experienced players, as was before, because they made the game a lot easier for people to come in, because like nowadays it's not like games could be done in like 1 to 4 turns easily, whereas opposed to Yu-Gi-Oh could be done like 10, 20 turns in the old days. So because of that, there's just a lot of easy memorization that is involved with Yu-Gi-Oh, because like it's just like memorize a combo, and then you can win. If your opponent can't stop your combo, then you're likely winning. And there's not a lot of learning involved with that. It's just it's going all in on every hand, and basically your opponent is just folding on every hand until they have a really good hand, and then call you all in, and then take you for all you're worth. It's kind of like that, in a sense, is where like the lesser experienced players are doing that. They're just going all in every time now, which where like we would stigmatize that kind of play in old Yu-Gi-Oh, because if you put all your cards out on the table like every time, the better player is always going to be able to pick it apart now. But because they made it harder now to pick your opponent apart like that, it's made it easier for the lesser players to beat the better players. So that's where I've seen Yu-Gi-Oh kind of take its turn, because I've been upset in this game a lot more now lately than I have been like 5, 10 years ago. Just to put that into perspective. But I still consistently win, but I'm getting upset a lot more. And then, as with to answer your COVID question, unless you wanted to chime in and say something before I go on.
No, I'm just surprised to hear that you are upset more now than like back when Tsukiyomi was around. Cause like I think I started losing my hair around Tsukiyomi times. It was so stressful.
When I say upset, I mean like being beat by an underdog, not like enraged upset, not the emotion upset. I mean upset by, as in like a lesser player beat
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, I see.
Yu-Gi-Oh during this whole like evolution with COVID. What I think they're gonna do is that when things return to normal, when we get some sense of normalcy, that we'll still have the normal events that we always did beforehand. But I think they'll keep this online dueling like up, because they've already seen some kind of success with it. And then not to mention that there are players who have accessibility issues that may not be able to go out and like be able to like go out for an event for 8 to 10 hours and be able to like play an event. Like there are some people with physical disabilities that can't do it. There are some people with mental disabilities who can't do it. Like some people can't like stay out of their home for long periods of time where like they have the safety and comfort of their own home where I can like, all right, after a Yu-Gi-Oh event is done, after a round is over, I have a little bit of time to just walk to my fridge, which is 2 steps away right now from where I am, grab a snack, have a meal, and then I can be re-energized again for the next game. So I think they should keep remote duels for accessibility issues for people who like can't participate in those events, and or maybe some people don't even have rides either. That's also a thing too. And then also for people who just prefer to play in this style. Some people like remote duels play than in real life duels because maybe they have like social anxiety or something like that, and they're just not good handling with a person in front of them. But if they have a digital version of them, maybe they can like cope better with it because they have an off button they can just kind of switch, or like a mute button if they need to tune out. So I think that they should keep it all like this, like both remote duels and real life duels, so that way you can kind of bring like the best of every world to come in a sense. I probably won't play a lot of the remote duels if they do it like that, but I think for like as a whole for everybody else, because it's not just about me, that they should do that so that way there's like another way for like people who don't play regionals or anything because they have that some kind of mental or physical issue that can't allow them to be able to participate in that. Because I have so many people in my local say, why don't you go to regionals with us? Why don't you go to regionals? They're like, I can't physically do it, or like mentally I can't do it because of like I can't like be there that long with other people. It happens. Like we've all come up with some person who has some kind of like social anxiety, depression, or something like mental or physical that they can't like attend these kind of long events or whatnot. So I think remote duels should remain, even if we get a sense of normalcy. And I think that's where Yu-Gi-Oh is going to go towards once we get a sense of normalcy back in the world.